Welcome back to Systems Aggregation for Business Success. I'm Margaret, and today we'll be having a live webinar. And sorry for the first time. I was trying to connect the speaker, but then he had a problem on the other side. So I'll just do it one more time, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I'm trying it for the second time to see if this will come true. Okay. Okay, finally, becoming 1 second. 1 second, please. 2 or 3 minutes, please, not 1 second, because we're going to 1 second. Okay. Okay, great. I'm coming. Please, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, and can you hear the music in the background too?
Yeah, I'm hearing the music on the background,
Okay.
the soundtrack.
Okay, thank you. So, I think others, while we're going ahead, others will join. So I want to say welcome to Systems Aggregation for Business Success. It's called SABS for short. So I'm glad that you accepted my invitation here. So being
Yeah,
the guest speaker.
thank you. I'm actually happy too that you thought it wise to invite me and share my knowledge with our
Okay.
young people. I think it's a pleasure, and I urge you to keep doing the good work that you are doing.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, what you're into, how are you inspiring other people on your platform?
Can you be a little bit audible?
Huh?
The audio,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're into, and how are you helping other people?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Ibrahim Kiazulo. I'm the founder, creative director, and CEO of Visual Tech. So Visual Tech is an IT consultancy, advertising, and marketing agency.
Okay.
We are located on Buchanan Street, opposite AGM. There where we have our office. So while we into outdoor advertisement also. So we run computer courses and we train young people. We serve as mentor to a lot of young people. We are more like a social enterprise. So we carry on field training courses, lay out to empower young people and give them their first skills in order to enter the job market. And then we also serve as consultant to few government institutions like the Bureau of State Enterprise, Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
So Visual Tech is one of their consultants. So we work on their database and work with the IT department to train their staffs. These are few things that we are into. Personally, I am a entrepreneur, and then I've been I've undergone series of training as an entrepreneur, and thinking it wise to contribute back to our community by developing young people.
Okay. Thank you. So today you'll be sharing your knowledge with us, and I'm so excited and can't wait. And I'll have a few questions too to ask after the entire section, so you can start.
Okay, thank you once again.
You're
Like the event says, so today I'm actually going to be talking about personal branding,
okay.
but specifically under the topic of developing developing a personal code of ethic.
Okay.
So I want that's what I'm going to be talking about because I want every young person to know that before even thinking about serving or entering into a job market or even being the person you are, it is necessary that you develop a code of ethic. That's what you stand for, and that's what will represent you. So,
Yeah. Okay. So the platform is all yours. You can start.
all right, thank you so much. So that's good.
All
So the
right.
learning objective on the personal under developing a personal code of ethic. For today, the must few notes I put out. One of the objective for today is understanding the importance of ethical considerations when leading as a manager or when serving or even leading in an organizations or even as a human being. So understanding your personal code of ethic and taking consideration of ethical behaviors, that's one objective that after the presentation today, every young person will understand, considering ethical behaviors in a gathering or even managing or leading the organizations or even at homes. So another objective would be identifying your source of ethic.
Okay.
So how do we go about identifying the source of ethic? And the last objective, the last point you will learn is knowing the 4 questions of every code of ethic, the 4 questions that everyone need to answer while developing the code of ethic. So
Okay.
that's the objective of developing a code of ethics. So one thing we will consider under the first topic, developing your code of ethic and taking into consideration ethical consider taking into consideration of ethical behavior is the fact that while you are leading as a young person,
Mm-hmm.
your behavior should represent what you stand for.
Okay.
So th- there are key attributes that we all know within society that we consider as ethical behavior. So, and it is different from one community to another. So you have to understand what is ethical in your community, and it might be unethical in another community. Okay, ethic is different from law.
Okay.
Ethic is not law, it's not constitutional. So and let's think about religious differences. One thing might be ethically acceptable in another religion, like say for Islam's, and it might be unethical in Christianity. So ethic is not constitutional, but it's what you stand for and what your society represents.
Exactly.
So in drafting our code of ethic, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. And while we're there, let me just refer to my note that I dropped.
Okay.
I'm coming.
All right.
So I'm coming. So like I was saying, sorry for me taking long. So every leader have to develop their personal code of ethic. What you think that would be acceptable to your followers. Let's say, for instance, if we are all in this gathering and we know definitely our actions that might not be right to another person. That for instance, you build your personal code of ethic to say every person entering this setting, it should be exactly at 10 o'clock. Without after 10 o'clock, no one will enter here. It's a clear policy and it's a clear ethic that you decide that after 10 o'clock, no one enters this vicinity. So it shouldn't be that your close friend or your manager today came after 10 and then you say, okay, since this is my close friend, this is my confidant, you have to enter, and then the other people don't have to, then you are breaking your code of ethic.
Okay.
It's what is that policy that you stand for. So no matter what, as a young person, you coming up building your code of ethics, you understand that once you give out this rule, you should stand by it. And also in building your code of ethics, understand that this code of ethics should also be acceptable and something conducive for other people to live by. So one of the questions you ask in building your code of ethics is my code of ethics constitutionally acceptable in whatsoever country you serve, you live? Because one thing is the Constitution is the overall governing bodies of every entities you work. So the rules and regulations or the bylaw of an entity where you work, you cannot have a code of ethics breaching those rules. So let's say, for instance, everyone have to come to job by 8 o'clock, and you have a code of ethics like, okay, I will rest. I'm not a morning person, and so I will be sleeping until 9 o'clock. So that ethic is already breaching the overall rules of that entity that you live or work for. And like I said, you cannot build a code of ethics that breach morality also. So your code of ethics should be moral. So let's say build a code of ethics that will go against corruption. Stand out when someone mentioned you as a young person, like Margaret. Okay, Margaret is a policy-minded person. She is very ethical, and she doesn't overlook abuse in her job. She doesn't overlook people coming on her platform using abusive language. So it's ethical with the society that agree with every society that you live. You know that using profane languages is not acceptable. So Margaret, do not take that lightly. So it's one core of ethic that we accept. So society, as we live, everyone expects you to come up with a well behavior. And so when in building that core of ethics, you should ask yourself first, is my core of ethic going along is this my code of ethics constitutional with the entity that I work for? That's one question we should always look out for when we looking at our code of ethics. So question number 2 that we look out for in instructions of a code of ethics is the action I'm taking. Ask yourself, this action that I'm taking, is it fair to the body that I'm governing? The action that you are taking, is it fair to the body that you are governing?
So that
So
means
because you can,
the person shouldn't, sorry for cutting you off, but I mean a person shouldn't just set a code of ethics based on their survey. You should also think about your body and others that will be following.
Exactly. So you should also think about the body and the people that you are governing. So in measuring your code of ethics, you always have to understand this action that I'm taking today, is it fair enough to the other people around me? So let's say, for instance, if you're serving an institution where they have a budget allotment, and then they have allotted a certain amount of money, and then you as a person taking that money to use it for a different purpose. Is it ethical? This money is there for training, and you want to use this money for another purpose. Is it fair enough?
Absolutely not.
That I'm dividing this budget intended for this purpose for another purpose. So while designing our code of ethics, that question should always be on our mind. Is it fair enough?
Okay.
So the next thing we should consider, am I live? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the next thing we should consider in designing our code of ethics is this action that I'm taking is inconsistent with my family value and my community norms? The action that you are taking today, is it inconsistent with your family value and your community norms? So you cannot come up today and set a code of ethics that you know is breaching the value of your family. So everyone, like I was saying, some ethical behavior is not constitutional, so sometimes it's different from family. It depends on where the person grew up. So in my family, kneeling down and greeting your elder, in my community, like we want to greet older person, we kneel down and greet them, is ethical. But in another setting, people see it like you worshiping someone. You understand? So we have to understand our core of ethics is different from family, from different perspective, community norms, and everything. So when you as a person, if you build in your core of ethics, you should be in line with your family values and your community norms. So we take an instance where a few, I think years ago, I think this musician from America, it was Meek Mill, and he visited Ghana. So he was, greeting the Ghanaian president. So he stood up and greeting the Ghanaian president. Ghanaian have problem with it. You understand? Like, oh, you greeting our president, you still have a cap on your head, and you standing up greeting the president. This disrespectful. So it's not ethical in the Ghanaian society, but in the diaspora, it doesn't mean anything. It's an ethic in the diaspora. So we should also understand when we're deciding our core of ethics, these are family values and our society norms we should take in consideration.
Thank you. Okay.
So like I said earlier on, your core of ethics should be in line with the Constitution, with the rules in that entity that you work. And then in my brain, in my home country, you understand it that, okay, is this legal? Is this is this not legal? So you always understand it. So these are things that you have to understand while building your core of ethics as a young person. So it's like you're branding yourself. So when someone call you and they say, okay, I know Margaret over time, I know what Margaret stands for. Every time I meet Margaret, she's a goal-oriented person. She's focused. She knows what she wants. She doesn't just carry herself. I don't see Margaret in every occasion, like in every entertainment occasion like that. I don't see Margaret on maybe a musical concert. Anyhow, make sure when I go in young inspiring gathering on youth meetings, this is where I found Margaret. This is these are things that Margaret have interest in. So it's like your self-branding. So you have to stand out or that standard as to what you take and what you do not take.
Okay.
So I think every young person, every young professional should have a core of ethic.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will stop there, Margaret. If you have a few questions, you can ask, and maybe it's our followers, and yeah.
Yes, sure. So I want to say thank you so much for coming on my platform. And what you said, I totally agree with them. So I have like 4 questions here. So when I got your team, and then I started to think about it more, and then questions started to come in my head. So
So
I'm
can
like,
you be a
so
little bit
now,
audible,
can you hear
Margaret? Or maybe
me?
my phone? Yeah.
Okay, okay, hold on. I said, thank you for coming on my platform. And then when I got your theme for tonight, I was thinking, right? I had so many questions coming to mind, so I just got 4 for you tonight. So can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
hearing you.
okay. So the first question is, what factors should individuals consider when crafting their personal code of ethics?
Okay, so like I was saying, I think, yeah. So the factors you consider first is knowing that you should always ask yourself these questions that I highlighted earlier on, or my
Yes.
core of ethics, is this constitutional?
Okay.
Is it in line with the body that I'm working with? Let's say if you work for entity, if I'm working with, for instance, SAP, is my core of ethics in line with SAP bylaw and constitution? If my core of ethics, even ethical, it's even law abiding in this country where I reside. You understand?
Yeah.
So because I'll give an instance. Sorry, I gave an instance where we were in Ghana for our training, the Yali. So the team from Liberia, we were there. And so one of our team members, she needed to give something to the hotel attendants. And then she handed things over with her left
Left
hand.
hand. Yeah.
And yeah,
Ghanaian
and
guy.
then this lady was like, aggressive. Like, you don't know, are you not treating like she went back and said, because I don't know how Ghanaian behave and all those things. I was just giving her these things, but so there were the facilitator said you should have read the way the people behave in Ghana, what are acceptable and what are not acceptable in Ghana. You understand? So
Yeah.
in building your core of ethic, you should get in consideration of where you reside, the country where you are living, and what are those things that are constitutional and unconstitutional, what are those things that are acceptable and unacceptable, their lifestyle. So in building your core of ethic, you have to understand that. And your core ethic has to go with family value, the family you come from. You understand what your family value is your core of ethics in line with your family value. And then you look at people you work with.
Okay.
People you work with, is your core of ethic fair enough to the people that surround you? You understand, the group of young people or your team that is around you. So these are factors we look at in building our core of ethic.
Okay. Thank you. And just to add up, I think what you said about the giving stuff with your left hand, right? So I
Yeah.
think people should be more, let's say, more polite, because let's say, for example, in Ghana, right, you can give things
Yeah.
with your left hand. But then in Liberia, on the other hand, it doesn't really matter. So I think,
Yeah.
like, okay, if a person move from their country and then go to another country, I think they should better get, let's say, it should be explained to them better than to be aggressive about it. Just because, okay, it's not right in your country to give stuff with left hand doesn't mean you should start, yelling
No,
all
yeah,
to
sure,
be
sure.
like, oh, okay, stuff like that. I think it should
Yeah.
be more like, okay, in our country here, we don't give stuff our left hand, or we don't do certain things. I think it also depends on how you're giving the message out, because you could also be wrong too. You could be saying something right, but then your manner of approach too can be wrong. So that's
Sure.
important.
So you have a point, and because she have a problem with the approach, she was like, I don't know
Mhm.
that this things is wrong in your country. At least you should have taken your
Yeah.
time. But the facilitator was like, you are educated. You should know when you enter into any country, you should have do your research. But everywhere, I think people should be, cognizant of how they approach other people.
Yeah, sure, sure. Okay, so the next question is, how can a personal code of ethics guide decision making in various aspects of life? but it shouldn't just be limited to, let's say, business, or so it should be something broad, right? So how can your code of ethics, how can they guide every aspect of your life?
Okay, so let's see. When you have that family value, growing up in Liberia, one of the things that people restrict their kid from is lying. You understand? Every family in Liberia, they don't want their kid lying. You understand? Stealing. So you know those things when you from your family norms. You understand? Like stealing is prohibited because
I think actually it's not just limited to Liberia, right?
yeah,
Everybody,
yeah, true. But
no
I'm
one
just
over there
saying.
trying to lie or steal. So
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But it's just something I'm just giving a
yeah, yeah,
scenario.
yeah.
It's not
Okay,
limited to Liberia, but that's
okay.
one thing every family you understand that go has on their kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then from your upbringing, from your family value, that core of ethic that's into you. That's what will get you to a public place where you would know that I don't need to divide people budget. I don't need to embezzle this fund that is
Yeah.
intended for the development of the next generation. But people that go about stealing, they do not have that personal value, that core of ethic. From who you understand, they undermine their own core of ethic, what you stand for, what that family value stand for. Because every time you are involved into corruptions, do you think about your kid? What their
Mm-hmm.
friends tell them at school, or your father were involved into a corruption. This money was intended for a role that would benefit the country. This money was intended for school project that would benefit generation to come. And then your family stole this money. You understand? These are things that will live against your family, your need, what you stand for. And then when some
Okay.
people go with the full core of ethic, and every time we see, let's say for instance, the family of Mandela, when you see them, you think about good, good attribute. Oh, Mandela is an upright man. So today, if you come across Mandela grandchildren, you treat them with respect. You understand? So, but what about that your family that you hear from, and then we know them for corruption? They have
Mm-hmm.
embezzled government funds. What happened? So I think the core of ethic, your core of ethic will guide you, will tell you, because it's your self-conscious mind that will tell you that this should be in line with your family.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. That will tell you that this is unethical. I cannot misuse government funding. Your core of ethic will tell you that when you take public office, this is where you come to serve, and it's not to enrich yourself. And your core ethic will tell you that when you serve as a customer service person, this is how you talk to person. And this is an ethic that you can just yield at person. It's not because you wake up feeling bad, that means you should spoil the mood of everyone that encounters you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I'm not
That's
in
right.
your personal life. I did not contribute or contributed to what get you angry. So if we face each other in a professional setting, you should not raise that anger on me, because I don't even know, and I did not contribute in any way to that stuff that is depressing you.
Mm-hmm.
So building those core of ethic will guide us, and this is why we look for ethical leaders, people where I would know that what I'm doing, is it fair to the general public. If you have those senses, if you have those consciousness, I think your guidance will be strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Hope I answer your question.
yes, sure. I have two more questions that I got
Okay.
down here, but then while talking, I have extra to just came up. So
Okay.
I want to ask this question for the benefit of everybody, right? So how can you help a young person or an individual who have left, let's say, their code of ethics? How can you help them? Like, for example, let's say most of these young people that are going astray, right? So probably they were brought up in proper home. They had good home training and stuff, but then some of them got mixed up with the wrong crowd. Some of them
Yeah.
had peer pressure and stuff like that. So they have, let's say, gone wayward. So what are some of the encouragement do you have to give to them? It just came out right now, so I didn't obviously, but I think it will help everybody that watching this. Yeah,
All right.
so what
If
can
I
you
get
say?
your question right, is what are the guardians that I can give to people,
Yeah,
in
or
building their core
advice.
of ethic?
Yeah.
You understand? It just around exactly. I think, like I said, you don't. there's always a chance. We always have chances. Though, anytime that you think you need to do the right thing is where you wake up. So they say anytime you get conscious of yourself, is your day have break. So don't even be carried away. Every time that you think you have to do these things right, it's just the beginning of your time.
Okay.
Because people get carried away. So you always have this enough time to set up your behavior and make it right to society. So I would like to say to every young person outside, we should start looking at morality. We should start looking around us and say, these things that I'm doing, when someone do it to me, is it fair enough? Is it acceptable for me? You start looking at things that are constitutional. You should not be the one breaking laws always. You should live within the confines of your law. You should look at people's feelings when you are leading. As a leader, you are there to serve and guide people. And everywhere people trust you and give you some level of leadership, you should be an upright person. Look at those norms of value that you can install and serve as an example. So you within yourself, we have this conscience, we have our own conscience that tell you, even when you are doing wrong, you know that this thing is wrong, So, but you kept doing it. So I think that conscience that we have, if you know that this thing is wrong, sit down and say, no, I cannot do this thing because it's wrong. Because there are other people that I should serve as an example too. There are other people behind you. They are family, your family. You understand? This is why people say, each time wrong, your community, each time bad, maybe you steal funding, you are supporting the name of your family. I think we've been hearing that thing, what the family stand for. You understand? So you should always consider your family, people that around you, are things you need to do. So you always find yourself doing the right thing. When you start being conscious of your actions, what this mean to society, what this mean to my family, what this mean to my team.
Okay. So the last question is, can you kindly share with us some of your code of ethics? Just share maybe 2 or 3.
I didn't get you right. Be a little bit audible, my girl.
Okay, so can you kindly share with us some of your code of ethics? Some of your personal code of ethics.
All right. So one thing over time with me is I have gotten to set a clear ethic that I get to know that over time I am not the money person. So if I'm supposed to work with an entity, I tell them the kind of person that go for tax. If I have a tax, I do my tax within time. But I'm not the person that wake up in the morning. Like I cannot be, it's never possible for me to wake up every morning and be at job at 8:30. I have found this difficult. So over time, because I found myself in constraint and I pick up job that I needed to be at work at 8 o'clock. And I tried, but it couldn't work. In fact, I was even fired for going to work late. So now I build that ethical behavior and that clear boundary. Like if I'm supposed to work with an entity, I tell them I will be at job at 10 o'clock, and every task that I have, I do my task within time. Because most of the time we look at it, you go to work every day, you spending the 8 hours at job. That 8 hours, sometimes you're not even working. Sometimes you don't even have a job to do in the next 6 hours. Sometimes you only do real working job maybe in 2 hours of that 8 hours. So I'm the kind of person that I believe in goals. So I'd never make myself busy when I'm not really busy.
Okay. So do they, like, let's say, accept what you bring to the table, like more like saying, okay, I will not be able to come to work by 8, I can do by 10. So
yeah. So if someone believes that they need your service, they need your profession, or this is what you do, this is what you are good at. If they need you, they will go for you. So it's better you tell the person the kind of person you are.
Okay.
You understand? Tell the people the kind of person you are. So over time, I know that if I'm working with people, I will not be that morning person. So I decided to start my own entity, and even at my job. And this is why, even when I take staff, I tell everyone, I don't believe you coming to work every day and not delivering. So if you can come to work 3 days a week, but deliver the task, I go for it.
Ooh, okay. I guess people watching this, so just in case he has an opening coming up, y'all can just, send your letter, your web at 10 o'clock
You know,
anytime.
yeah, sure,
Okay, that's
exactly.
really
Yeah.
nice.
So for me, I believe that yeah, I believe in a goal. You have a task and you do the task on time. I don't believe in making myself busy when there's no
Yeah,
actual job to
basically
do. You know, just get
that
yourself
being
busy.
productive.
So yeah. And for me, I don't believe in the ideas of working hard but working smart.
Smart, thank you. Okay. Okay, so it was, that is okay. That's all for now. That's all. That's the full question. I don't want to go above. So
Yeah.
thank you so much
So
for joining. I really enjoyed this section, and I hope to see you next time if you have the
okay.
chance. We have to set up another appointment soon. So
Yeah.
for those that are watching or will be able to watch the video later on, and if you have questions, you should kindly leave them in the comment section. He will get back to you. So
Okay.
can you give us your social media handle so that people can check you out on it?
So my
1 minute.
Instagram is
One
Kiazulo
minute, please.
8.
Hold on. 2 minutes. Sorry, sorry. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Kiazulo 8. And then you can find me on Facebook with Ibrahim K. Kiazulo. So I'm also on TikTok with Ibrahim Kiazulo.
Okay.
So, you can find me on LinkedIn with Ibrahim K. Kiazulo.
Okay.
So my
So I'll be
Ibrahim is
sharing.
Ibrahim. It's not Abraham.
Okay. So I'll be sharing your handles in the comment section for others to reach out to you. Thank you so
Okay.
much for joining tonight, and I hope you have a blessed night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so my parting statement to the general public is that
Hmm.
we as people, we are brain. So
Yeah.
you got to brain yourself. You got to, you know, each time someone call your name, something should run to their mind. Each time somebody hear your name, they should know what you stand for. So that's personal branding. Is people see you and they know exactly this is what the person represents. Then you pushing forward. So every one of us, we know what we here for. So it's good for us to brand ourselves. And so when someone sees you, they know what you stand for from your brand. So now, once you hear about Apple, it's like, oh, Apple is a more expensive
I
brand, more great. You know,
know,
once
right?
you hear about Microsoft, you know what it stands for and
Hmm.
what you know the piece. So I think every individual is a brand. So let's start building our personal core of ethic and start branding ourselves. And we remember we should take in consideration of values. We should work within the conference of the entity we serve in their bylaw and in their constitution. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for affording me the opportunity. I'm always available and I admire your work.
Thank
I admire you
you.
so much. Keep
Thank
doing what you do.
you. I'm
Yeah.
honored. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
So, okay. Whew, we had a wonderful time. So, we've come to the end of today's session. Thank you for joining. And to those that will join later on, I hope this live session has been a blessing and will be a blessing to you. And also, if you have a specific theme to talk about, kind of hit me up. I'll invite you here and then you can share with us your knowledge. So thank you once more. My name is Margaret. I'm a business coach and I'm the founder of Systems Aggregation for Business Success. In short, it's called SABS. So thank you. Have a blessed night. Bye bye.